when the Hoodie org accusations and the shots were taken at us, I'm like, listen, you don't understand how this started, and you can do both at the same time. The problem was we weren't winning. And so if we're selling all this apparel and we're selling out and people are really excited about it, as long as we could just win, those things never would have came out of the woodwork, and those people would not have had those comments. But winning an LCS championship was like the perennial moment for us. Like, we just proved everybody wrong. And so, yeah, of course, man, I was vindicated. It was amazing. It was like bathing into tears of all the people that were calling us Hoodie org for years.
The 100 Thieves hype train got off to a fast start when they first joined the LCS. They signed a big-name roster, they sold apparel like hotcakes, and reached the finals in their debut split. But a devastating sweep at the hands of Team Liquid, followed by 3 years of competitive drought, forced the Thieves to rethink what it would take to live up to their own hype. To their critics, 100 Thieves became known as an organization that was seemingly better at selling hoodies than winning titles.
The 90s inspired tricolor.
But inside the org, their championship goals never wavered. Step by step, 100 Thieves built the team that they felt would bring them that elusive first LCS trophy. New management, new coaches, and new players. And at the 2021 LCS Championship, the Thieves went from hypebeasts to beasts. Tell me what the experience was like when 100 Thieves finally won last year.
Man, it just felt like such an uphill battle with the LCS because we came in 2018 and we had such a prolific run. It almost felt too easy. I'm like, okay, we came in, we didn't really know much about management teams and agencies and player relationships and coaches, but we found our footing. And then from there on out, you know, the pieces just never were put together at the right time. And so when we finally ended up winning 3 years later, with the roster that we had, even we did a podcast with them before the match, just so confident, oozing with just passion, and they want to win. And so when we finally went into that finals, it was the first time that I woke up this morning, or that morning, and thought to myself, wait, we're gonna win.
Flash follow, he's tanky, the kick back in, they found tactical, and Varus is helpless. You can hear the cheers behind us. 100 Thieves rule the LCS. 100 Thieves, LCS champions at last.
Coming back to kind of first entering the scene, what was your initial impression of 100 Thieves?
I mean, 100 Thieves entering the LCS, I think, was kind of like this ambitious brand. Obviously, Nadeshot was the focal figure for the organization. You know, this guy who has a huge competitive history himself, who knows what it takes to actually win championships, who knows what it takes to get to the top of his craft because he had done it in COD, right? And obviously they wanted to kind of do it with some style, with some pizzazz. They were really focused on like the content and I think, you know, the look of the org, so to speak.
We were sort of navigating in the dark. We were pretty smart about the diligence that we were doing. We were talking to like the movers and the shakers in the league. The biggest thing for me was I wanted to build around some players that our community could really get behind. You know, it was one thing to have 5 people on stage, it's another to have like some sort of connection to those players. And that was always like first and foremost what mattered the most.
Why was that important?
I mean, we're trying to build a brand. Like we're 10 years too late with all the other LCS teams that are part of this league. You know, for me at least, my career was really built off of with all my friends at Optic. If you want people to root for you, you have to give them more than just your performance on stage. And that's why we would give them insights into our life and we would make as much content as possible. And that's why we're streaming 24/7, because it really made the difference. When you're watching at home and then you see me step on stage, you just spent the last 72 hours with me over the course of the last week, you're gonna be rooting for us. And so that's why we wanted people like Aftermath, that's why we wanted people like Medius, that's why we wanted, you know, people like Someday that, you know, have some sort of reputation and some sort of goodwill with the community.
It's literally just a mash of 5 players who haven't really played together before, except for Meteos and Ryu. I feel like it's a strongly backed team financially. They lured some big names to that team in Someday and Aframu.
Someday was arguably at the time, like top 3 in the world for his position. Like he was playing some of the best League of Legends that he had ever played, and then he came to North America. 100 Thieves getting Someday obviously was a really big deal because this is supposed to be the franchise player. This is supposed to be the guy who is going to take you to these places, win you these championships.
Was it hard coming from a place where you had been a super dominant player and then coming to a new league and playing new players?
Yeah, because I know some like strategy or like in the game, but I couldn't explain well, and so many players doesn't accept my opinion, and so I have to like help them and explain, but I couldn't because the language barrier.
So were you surprised then when the team made the finals as the first split together as a team?
Yeah, it was kind of surprised because obviously I thought other team was strong than us, but we made finals surprisingly.
Do you remember how that finals went?
Yeah. Yeah, it was fast.
Yeah?
Yeah.
For you or for them?
For us. But I was kind of satisfied that result, even if we lost, because I didn't expect that we're going that much higher, and it was just first split for us.
I mean, to make it to the finals, it was just like, holy shit, how did we pull this off? And I wasn't sure if we were gonna win. I was hoping we'd win. We didn't, but I was still proud of that team. And they went through a lot of controversy as well. Like the community didn't even think they didn't even want us in the final. Not a lot of people were really fans of expansion teams. It was all about TSM, CLG.
Really, when you think of the LCS, you think of it's like, okay, well, it was CLG, it was TSM, it was C9, and those teams were kind of winning at the start, obviously. TL came in, they started winning, CLG stopped, but it's always kind of been, centered around 3 teams. And it's been 3 teams that have been there from the very, very beginning. And 100 Thieves coming in and showing that, hey, it actually could be done, I think did surprise people. I would say though, having gotten to the finals, they got swept. And I think that changes how people looked at it. I think that changed people's perception of kind of like 100 Thieves.
A lot of people in the community didn't think we actually wanted to win. We put such a big emphasis on the other aspects of our business, our apparel, our content, and we're trying to really build a business that can last and sustain the test of time. And that's another thing people really don't understand. It's a business at the end of the day. Everybody loves esports, everybody loves like watching players on stage, but they don't understand the amount of money that goes into these rosters and buying players out from current contracts. It's a very expensive sport. So when people would say that we didn't want to win, I was just like, I want to go off. I want to tell them how it actually is, but I don't want to be an asshole either. So I would say those are the biggest differences between how the roster was formed the first year and how the roster is formed moving forward. We obviously have Papa Smithy, who's been a great captain steering the ship, but winning is by far and away the absolute priority.
What were the struggles for the team, kind of when you first joined?
When I joined, we had a lot of expiring contracts. It was very much, we can go in a lot of different directions. And the direction you go in also has to be related to how much time you have. Like if you need to succeed within a year, you have to go for a certain type of direction.
Were you told you have to get it done in a year? Were you given a little bit more time? What did you want and what did you get, I suppose?
I think for me, it's always been investing in young players and looking for ways to break into the conversation. We were offered the benefit of trust and respect and a multi-year commitment. It was a 2-year commitment originally, more than a lot of people are given when they first enter in at the GM level. We had this short list of 3, 4, 5 players in order to build a championship roster. We could tell leadership, with these players, we can contend for the title in 2021. And FBI was, a name bulleted on that list, especially after he became a resident player. We had FBI above, names that people would never expect in that offseason. We rated him super, super high. If you include the residency tag, we evaluated him over a player like Reckless, for example, and other like legendary AD carries. Being able to convince him to come over was what really opened up the other players making sense for our roster. It was very much attracting him, leading to what ends up being the 4 Golden Guardians and someday roster.
If I'm being totally honest, what I remember was being upset with Papa Smithy because we're like, listen, company's been a lot more successful in these last couple of years. We've brought on great partners. We're selling out every single apparel drop. We've broadened our talent pool, and we're in the best position we've ever been. And we keep telling the esports program, we want to win. Get us the players that are going to win us the championship. And so when he told me that we were going to bring 4 players over from the Golden Guardians, I was like, what the hell are you, why? In what world does that make sense, Jay? I can feel it right now. What the fuck are you guys talking about? We're just gonna go grab 4 players from the other team and hopefully it works out? Like, I thought you were gonna go get me Faker from, obviously not Faker, but, there is a whole talent pool overseas, and I don't want nobody in the comments telling me that, oh, you don't like NA talent. I'm like, listen, you guys want us to win now. We've got the best development system in all of the LCS, thanks to Papa Smithy and our incredible staff. We got 100 Thieves next. We got the best academy team. We won the academy championship the year before that. I'm like, why aren't we putting them on stage? Why aren't we getting some imports? Like, I want to win. And so I didn't know if we were capable of winning, but I trusted them. Obviously, I wasn't, gonna kick up any more dirt than I needed to, and I didn't know those players.
Closer and FBI, if you had to narrow it down, were really the 2 most important players joining 100 Thieves. Because Someday hadn't been able to be that guy to really carry the game and really take over and kind of push his team across the finish line. And now he has this threat in FBI who is known for incredible team fighting, for dominant laning, who could be the guy to get you across the finish line as long as he was put into a good position. And then you add in Closer, who's this really explosive, aggressive jungler who's supposed to put them into that winning position. And it felt like you had a pretty dynamite recipe. Going into that year, I basically felt like, okay, you've gotten everything you want now to surround you as far as these other players. So you must perform or it's your fault.
Before you joined the team, what was your impression of 100 Thieves?
I mean, outside perspective, it looks like a pretty cool org. They have a really nice merch, and they look professional. But inside, I mean, when I'm winning, I felt like a family here. Like, I can see the hard work the organization is putting. So I kind of felt like I have to work hard to just win it for them as well. Not only for me, but for people that is working hard behind the scenes, basically.
Because at the end of the day, if you don't win, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, for sure. The winning is everything. Like, when I felt the sport, all this stuff, like I was like, okay, I know I'm gonna win for sure, and I know I wanna do it on this team. It was all about like, when is it going to happen? And in the summer split, it was the perfect time.
What do you think changed between spring and summer? Like, what was the biggest change for you?
Abedaya and Reaper coming in was the biggest change for sure. I felt like they bring like a different kind of perspective to the game.
I didn't really understand what Closer was about till Reaper came in summer. Closer, at its core, is a proud carry player who wants to style on people and wants to show off. And I think his role in the team in spring was much more of a facilitator. He was given kind of a mind shift change where he understood what his role is on the team. And when that became clear, this guy Unleashed just wins you games. Like, he basically solo, I mean, it's strong to say, but he was the difference maker in playoffs.
Oh, they're gonna take it. The kick is almost the flash.
Nice.
My.
Closer was on an absolute tear. He was finding so many early game skirmishes on Diego where he'd just barely get that first kill, get the reset, take over the game, and it was just happening time and time and time again.
I cannot take this anymore. Saying everything I said before.
I don't like watching our games with our staff and really anybody at all. I got to be in my own room because I am a lunatic. People will like gasp if we die or like, oh no. I'm like, shut the fuck up. We are neutral. If we get a kill, don't care. Don't make any expression, no noise, nothing. Just shut up. And I don't want to impose that on other people. Like, this is the company. Like, we got to enjoy this together. So the entire time, I'm just basically like trying not to yell at our staff.
All these thoughts, they make no sense. I found this in ignorance. Nothing seems to go away over and over again.
A couple of days before we played the semifinal against C9, it just dawned on me that we could just win, you know? Like, why don't you just win forehead is kind of like the meme that everyone's going to feel before a stage match, but feeling that way about winning a championship is a different thing.
And for the first time since they created the team in 2018, 100 Thieves are going to be running it back to finals.
I knew the day I woke up, we were going to win that day. And I think my teammates felt the same way because the way we played was like so clear that day.
They picked Camille early, and that's mean they're gonna play around top. So I picked Shen for neutralize top, and I remember the bot dive. We played really well.
Who was calling the dive? Was it you? Is it Closer? Is it everyone?
But they want to Camille TP, guys.
I can all 10 seconds. You guys should do it.
Yeah, we should do it.
Yeah.
I was kind of pushed to dive because I saw the angle that we could kill everyone.
Wait, big dive door.
Yeah, you guys should. You guys should. Okay?
We called like LPL dive, and we were turret aggro ping pong really well. They didn't have chance to win after that point.
But flash pulverized, Tactical getting low, Tactical will drop, but here comes Alfari, is it going to be enough? First reset comes super close, low health for Core JJ, Jensen healthy though, as Rift Herald drops, the minion wave will be falling pretty rapidly, Heaven Pulse comes in, Alice Roll tanks it up, kill number 1 and number 2, 100 Thieves play through the bot lane, and the bot lane rewards them, not only with 4 turret plates, but 4 kills as well!
Good job, guys. Yeah. We failed that dive many times. I remember for sure. Like in the scrims, we got tilted. We were angry to each other probably because of that dive. Many times before that happened. So in the finals, it was just easy to do it.
Is that different from kind of thinking back to your first time in North America, where it was harder for you to communicate, you know, what you wanted to do in the games?
Yeah, I couldn't imagine it 3 years ago. Yeah.
I have seen a 100 Thieves TL final with games ending this fast before. A Game 1 slaughter against Team Liquid.
How does game 1 go? Just as we expected, to be honest.
Really? You expected to get Viego?
I didn't expect to get Viego. They don't have a plan against the Viego. And game 2, they do the same thing. I'm like, what is going on in this series?
Yeah, they tell you that you should quit trying. You are too small,
very little
you
help,
are too
but he gets 2 kills. He
They
gets the
tell you the
reset.
chance is too slim, the world is too big, but you say how come? I'm ready to light a new fire, raise a new flag, to cross a new sea.
Again, Closer just makes it happen.
You're coming into game 3, and TL finally takes away the Viego. But Closer's on Lee Sin, and he was dominant on that pick throughout playoffs as well.
Game 3, you load into the draft screen. You see enemy team is banning 3 junglers, first picking 1. I know they are scared of me, so I'm coming for you guys.
Santorin is playing Trundle that game, and there's this one play very early on where he's chasing Abadaga into the river. Lo and behold, Closer shows up, Santorin is overchased, and Closer gets first blood. And you just have this feeling like, oh no, it's happening again, isn't it? Like, he's gonna take over this game, he's gonna run it.
I probably said to my teammates, okay guys, I'm gonna carry this game. Just ward and play with my tempo, guys. I'm gonna carry this game.
Okay. Did you carry the game?
Yeah, I think so.
The kind of pivotal moment in that game, it's TL coming, trying to actually set up for a team fight. They're already down, but they're looking for a team fight win around Rift Herald. And we've seen TL actually reverse sweep people in the finals in the past. We've seen them come back, and if they can win that fight, hey, you never know what's going to happen.
Their positioning wasn't that great, and they become small area, and then I ulted. Then I set up for closer.
We all started grouping up. I'm like, oh shit, do we really want to do this early? Closer changed something together. I'm not even sure how he moved that way, but I was jumping out of my seat when this happened, and it's the first time that I wasn't neutral on the couch.
Closer just finds the most insane kick. He hits a Q onto Santorin. As he runs back towards his team, he waits until the very last second when it's about to expire, takes the Sonic Wave in, Warthog flash kick, tactical right into his team, and you just know the game's over, right? Like the Nexus hasn't exploded, Baron hasn't even spawned, but the game is over. That really was one of those plays that cements itself in your mind as one of those great LCS finals moments.
I mean, the windows are really short in this game. So it's like you can see a play and 1 second later, it can be completely gone and you can be like, I missed that window, or you can be really good at the game, but when you are playing at that stage in that final, nervousness might come get you. Like, you might not be confident enough to go for that play. So it's all about mental and skill. You have to use both. I believe if you're a great player, you see these windows and you automatically go for it.
You can throw in 3 bans, he does not care. He's just better.
I mean, he's a beast. He's a Kral, you know? Like, we call him Kral Closer. That means King Closer, and he delivered on it, you know? Went from being an affectionate title to just statement of fact.
We are literally doing the final push. Game is won for sure. There is no way we're gonna lose. And I'm listening our voice comms right after the match. It's like, we are really serious.
Focus on tower, I'm gonna W LeBlanc away.
Okay, focus on turrets.
Okay.
Guys, focus on turrets.
Yeah. Okay.
We are hitting the Nexus. The final is done for sure, but no one is like screaming, no one is happy. But when the Nexus finally explodes, I think everyone realized that we won. Like, we were so tired.
Let's fucking go!
What's that shift like?
It's so cool. It's hard to explain. You must feel it, to be honest, but it's the relief. The relief of stress, like, you do the same thing for days, for weeks, for months, and finally everything is done. Like, your work didn't become nothing, like you won the whole thing. So when Nexus finally explodes, it's just crazy.
When you got up out of your chair, what's the first thing you remember seeing?
The sack of my memories still going through, and it was a lot of time, but I finally did it.
It still feels like a dream.
Yeah.
Even though you think about that moment a lot, even though you know you're gonna win, like when it finally happens, it's just so weird. It's like, it's not real, but it's finally real.
What was Nate like when you saw him?
I just ran and gave the trophy to him. It's like, all yours. The job is finally done. We did it. So it was a proud moment.
He busted through that door and basically spiked that thing into my chest, and I wasn't even expecting that. I truly wasn't. But yeah, that was a great moment, and I appreciate Closer, you know, giving me the opportunity to celebrate with them. When we finally won, it felt better than any other championship I won personally, and I did not win a lot, so I held on to those moments. But that, for me, was just a flood of emotions and adrenaline and something that just you really can't explain.
Behind us, 100 Thieves rule the LCS!
It was something that I'll never forget.
It is that kind of final piece, you know, it's the final gem in the crown, so to speak. It's one of those things that they, you know, set out to do. And yes, no one can knock them on their content, no one can knock them on their merch, but, well, you haven't won yet, right? So isn't that what it's supposed to all be about? And now they have that too.
What are the memes now?
The memes?
Where's the hoodie org? Where are the haters?
The haters are silent these days, but also, like, since we are the champions, we are the king. Everyone is coming to take us, so we have to be prepared.
You like that though? You like being the king?
I like that.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I said when we sat down that night with the trophy. Like, we have to win this again. Like, we have to win this many more times. So that's my goal.
Yeah, I have nothing else to add besides please go buy our merch.